Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Decryption and I hope you are well. So I recently took part in the 2024 GMTK Game Jam where I created a game in 96 hours. As per normal, I had very minimal sleep, I did very minimal stuff, I just focused on the game because I wanted to do the best I could, and I made an absolute cracking game that nobody's been able to play. Let's find out why and let's get started. So yes, nobody's managed to play the game. So normally, when I'm doing a game jam, I build every so often. So I'll get ready for bed, I'll put my computer on, I'll tell it to build a version of it, and I'll go to bed. For some reason, I didn't do it this time, but I just figured, you know what, it's a small game, it's not going to take that long, right? No. So I started building at around 11 AM on the last day, and I left it to build. I figured, you know what, if I spend an hour or two building the project, that's fine, I'll just have to deal with it. It took 12 hours, technically 12 and a half hours to build. I wasn't doing anything else on the computer. I literally turned it on and went on a call. That was it. And it took 12 and a half hours to build. I missed the deadline by many hours, and the deadline was extended, and I missed that by many hours. And the worst part is it failed at the end of the night as well. But thankfully, it's the initial build. That's the key thing. Unreal has to cut, it calls, all the content, preparing it ready. If you change content, it will have to recook that content. But if you don't change it, it won't have to recook it unless you delete it and stuff. So like this tank here was one of the first things I put in the game. It cooked it. It would have probably never cooked it again because I've never touched it, never had to. And yeah, so here's the biggest tip I can give you. Build often, put your computer on at night, build it, go to bed. There's a reason AAA companies have server farms set up to build their games because it takes so long. But yes, so with that said, here is the game. A link will be in the description if you want to download it. I would love for you to download it and tell me what you think because I couldn't do it part of the jam, unfortunately. But yes, so the jam's theme was built to scale. That was the theme. So I went over and figured out a game I wanted to build. I already had an idea of what game I actually wanted to build. I wanted to do something with the war pack. I wanted to do something with it for ages. And when Built to Scale came on, I was a bit, well, what do I do with that? And I don't know if you've seen the devlog, because I don't know what order these videos are going out yet. But the devlog shows you where I got the idea of what to do. And the basic gist of it is you land at Normandy for D-Day, basically. And you're a commando, you get in, you shoot with bad guys, Nazis. And now I've opened up the Right project. As you can see, that clone was from one of the first days, maybe the second day, and tank's still there. But yes, you kill the Nazis, you come up through the trenches here, and then you can walk down here, you get into here, there's a Medal of Honor 1 style room that I was quite proud of, and then you were meant to see that giant tank over here roll down, blow a building up, and then you'd be like, okay, change of plans, we're not here to take Nazis out, we need to kill that machine kind of thing. And then you go travelling down some more trenches somewhere, maybe to this hill over here, maybe to somewhere, maybe a building. It might have been this one, but you climb up to a building somehow, and it gives you just enough room to climb up this tank. And the plan was to climb top of the tank, climbing it Shadow of Colossus style, because you know, built to scale, it's built like a giant tank. You get to the top, you blow it up, you run away, it goes boom. Then the next plan was to have a couple more tanks and some mechs. So I did massively overestimate how much work it was going to be to make the tank work. And that wasn't even coding. Coding finished that in like an hour. Dead easy. The hardest part was kit bashing the tank to climb up it. Just for scale, let me turn the lighting off. That's the tank, as you can see. If I just drop a basic animation in, have I got a basic one? Here you go, it's rifle aim posing. Look at the size. That's a normal guy in the game. That's the size of the tank. Built to scale. I was proud of that. But it took ages to do. I even moved it to a dev map so I could figure out how to do it. And it works. It works really, really well. So as you can see, here's the tank. And it's massive, but it's got everything on it. So you come up to here. This is the fake away building mounting. And you'll climb up this ladder. You'll take this guard out who's just on patrol over there. Climb up here, and you've got an Uncharted Gears of War style thing where you hide behind boxes, crouch, take out all the baddies. You can see it goes up, the railings are here to protect people getting off, because in this world the Nazis have kidnapped the alien and reversed their technology, so they're going to build it so their troops don't fall off all the time. So yes, you keep coming up, you've got some stairs I've kit bashed to here, and then more shooting areas, health packs there. That health pack just simply spins around like that. But you pick it up, it plays the Medal of Honor zip sound, but it's a licensed sound I've got access to. More bad guys, and then you get to this locked warehousey building thing. you activate the keypad, and then it takes you up to here. It plays some sound in dark motion that makes it sound like you're running, you're climbing some ladders, and then you pop up. The plan was for you to turn around and see this tank in the world previously that you just saw, and it'd be charging up and shoot a battleship and go big explosion, chaos, physics, destruction. And then you come up to here, you plan to bomb here, and then you have a ticking time to try and escape before it blows up. You come back down here, you escape down here. I couldn't think of any other way else to do it, so I just basically said go back the way you came. The plan was to eventually spawn a few more enemies, not a lot because you've killed everybody, but a few stragglers come back, shoot them, timer's ticking, come all the way back down again, drop down these stairs, shoot a couple more, climb down these stairs, and get away from the tank. I was going to make it if you didn't get far enough away, as the tank explodes, your body would literally be sent to space and destroyed because of the size of the tank. And if you got far enough away, then you'd be able to turn around and witness the destruction of a tank go kaboom, kind of thing. And I even did the explosion. I did it as a raw file so I can edit the explosion parameters, and then I rendered out one here. So if I click play, you'll get to see what the tank should look like. So you can see, boom. I wasn't mega impressed with it personally. I wanted loads of little small fragment chunks, and I kept trying to split it up, but it didn't work. Like, I've scaled the tank up to ×10. Sure. If I shrink it, it does look a bit better. It still doesn't look fantastic, see? Let me just drag him over here. See, it still doesn't look great. But that was the plan to, you know, boom, 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 big explosion kind of thing. That's your player as well. That's who you play if you don't know. You're just an army guy, unknown name, but yeah, you're a good chap. It works well. But yeah. So that was the game, that was the plan, and everything was in there, and as it stands, you can mostly play it from start to end. There is one glitch that for the absolute life of me I cannot figure out, and I'm just taking a few days break from it so I can release the game, is part of the quests is when you come up to these trenches here, you unlock the ability to crouch. Because I've implemented the gas system in this, which is awesome. And then you come down here, and then you get to here, and then your guy who you're following is like, wait, stop, somebody's coming, just stay low. And then two guards there were originally meant to just walk down here talking some German, and then they'll walk over here as you're down there, not noticing them as they walk around here. And as you can see, there's a waypoint here, right there, all the way across to here, up across the bridge, down here and across. Is fine. Would not work at all. This is how weird it was. You run it in the editor, it works. You run it as a build game, it stops working immediately. Just outright stops. I have no idea why. So I moved it over to here instead. So they have to walk this way, you know? One smooth path. Same thing. They just sometimes will not move. I've tried lifting them up and putting them back down. I've tried moving them. I've tried printing out what the error is, but you can't get the error. They just won't move. I've even tried telling them to move 4 times, as in play at the start, wait for the dialogue, play at the start, play at the end, wait for the next dialogue, play it, wait for the end of the dialogue, play it. Every single time. Failed. It's like the nav mesh disappeared. It's so weird. But yet the captain can continuously run down here without a problem. But yeah, so you can't get past this bit until they have moved over there and they refuse to move. So that's why I can't release it, because you can't actually play the game. But yeah, so you may have noticed it looks a bit crazy here, and it is intentional. Everything pink you see, so all of these pink ones here are walls. They're blocking walls that the player can't get through. So you can see right here, there's a big pink blocking one here, so it goes underground. The player can't get past this bit, no matter how hard they try. Same with that way. This one's floating, so the boat can come down here, as you can see the spline, and that will move down at the end and block it off. That's what all the pink things are. They're basically blockers. Some of them block the AI and the player, so like this one here goes over the top of all that. That blocks both characters to stop the Nazis here who ambush you from getting through. Some of them just simply block the player. Anything orange is dialogue triggers or triggers of some kind. So this one here is the... Well, it won't tell me which one it is because it won't let me click it. But this is a dialogue trigger and a quest trigger and a vehicle trigger. So as you come up here, your guard captain who you're following will be like, shh, there's a tank coming. Actually, no, we don't say tank. He'll be like, shh, there's a truck coming, stay low. So you'll just stay here out of sight, and this truck that I've made here, so you can see a nice little truck with a guy driving in it. It will basically drive and follow this spline down here as a road, and it'll drive past here going chugga 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 to add the sense of immersion to it, and it worked really, really well for the most part. Some glitches in Unreal 4 basically just made the audio not work, so I'd have to go in and reassign the audio. Well, literally, I did reassign it and it started working again. But yeah, after that truck reaches a certain spline point down there, it tells us to move on, so we can move on up here. These reddish orange ones here are ability givers and dialogue triggers. So I think this one's the ability giver. So this one will give you the ability of crouch. So you can't crouch at all until you get to this stage. Then it was supposed to pop up on screen and say press such and such to crouch, but I ran out of time. So then yes, you'll crouch down here, and then you and your guard will walk down here. Everything up here, up there, up there, up there, they're all player blockers. This one here on top is a specific player blocker to stop the player from being able to jump up here, because it outright blocks them off. But it allows Nazis to walk over the top of it, because the plan was that every so often you just see a guard walk across and he'd be like, stop, come down here, there's more of them, more blockers. And then this one here is a crouch. What was that one? I can't. Oh, NPC stop crouch. So that one just tells the NPC stop crouching. So as they hit it, they'll stand up. That's it. Because they crouch all the way down here sneaking, but when you get in here, you don't need to crouch anymore. And then in here, you've got like the Medal of Honor bunker, dialogue trigger at the back. There's a map I found online. It was a royalty-free one. Oh, I didn't notice that. Look, free pick. That's where I go from. And then you can see I've roughly put it on. So all the blue where your allies are coming from, and then, you know, where you're attacking from. And then there's Normandy right there, which is where you're attacking to, kind of thing. But yeah, so it looks really cool. You don't get to see a lot of this, unfortunately, but never mind. Some wounded chaps down there. You get in here, Mr. Winston Church Road, because I didn't want to use real names, so Church Road, not Church Hill. He basically tells you how these tanks have gotten mad because you came here going, where are all the Nazis, kind of thing. You expected to be like Normandy, ambushed, destroyed with Nazis. And he's like, yeah, fun fact, I had to do all the voices for this game because GMTK has banned AI voices. Rather annoyingly, I think it should be a choice, personally. But yeah, so I couldn't use any AI voices, and it was running a bit late for me to ask for voices. So I started doing impressions of voices, and for him, I used the Marlon Brando technique, and I shoved cotton balls into my cheeks, and it honestly just sounds like I'm talking with a mouthful, to be honest, but it does kind of work. It gives it a different voice. If I go to Church Road, you can see, Captain James and your men, I'm glad you're finally here. So it does sound different, but it sounds like I'm eating a cheeseburger at the same time. So I've got my burger. Oh, you see, our spies have indicated that something crashed near this site, something that we believe is alien. So it does sound like my mouth's full, but I guess that's the point, isn't it? So yes, it works quite well, and yeah, that's this main bit here. Really easy, to be honest. Like the plan was it. I've massively kit bashed this area out, transformed all of these things down here, put all of the barricades up here, completely changed it. I was debating at the original start of it to have these shoot down on you, but yeah, I didn't have time. We've got explosive barrels, which, here's a question for you all, see if you can figure it out. This barrel, you shoot it, it explodes. Yeah, it's simple. This is the type of weird bugs I've had that have made this game harder to create. I love the game, don't get me wrong. But I basically say, on death, so when you shoot it, spawn an actor at this actor location, so it will be right there, spawn it right there. Always spawn, no scale changes, no rotation changes, that's fine. Then set a timer, and then this was a really cool effect with it. These barrels actually chain. So if I create a barrel here and a barrel down here and keep going in a long pattern, it'll go boom, 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 proper work its way down. And the way I did that is I set a timer when I explode it for 0.3 of a second, and then it runs an overlap sphere around it and tells them to destroy themselves as well. And so you get the effect of every 0.3 seconds, it goes boom, next barrel, boom, next barrel, boom. And then it's really cool. At the start, I think it's in the devlog, I set a line of these up down here, and as soon as I got to the beach and the Nazis started running, I'd shoot it and it'd go boom, 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 and just destroy them all in one go. It was so cool. You may notice that there's a split here, and that is on purpose, because the gameplay ability system works really, really well for characters or things you want to give abilities to. For a destructive barrel, it's a bit overkill for using a full ability system just to shoot it. So I did a branch. If it's got the ability system on it, then it'll apply explosive damage to the ability system using a gameplay effect. If it's not, then it just deals explosive damage. That's it. So really, really basic. So then if it's got a character, it will kill it. If it's got anything else like the barrel, it will destroy it. The plan was to have other things it could destroy, like crates and stuff, but I ran out. So yes. So the weird bug on here is the fireball spawns up here. That's it. I've checked it. It physically moves it out of position. The blueprint I'm using is one built into Unreal. You can see its location is there. It's not a weird one. I've opened the blueprint up and had a look at it. There's nothing weird in it. There's no collisions, there's just an audio, that's it. Nothing in the construction script, nothing in the event graph. It's an actor. But yet, it moves position, that's it. It's so weird. If I start from here, if I can, I don't know if I can. Yeah, no, I can't. Okay, so let's try it. I'll show you in a minute when we actually get to it. But yeah, you shoot it, it explodes in midair, and I don't know why. It's one of the bugs that I've just had to deal with. Like, the overlap sphere works perfect, that's in the middle. But the explosion's up in the air, I don't get why. But yeah. So I've blocked off all this, so it's a very linear game that you have to move along. This boat spline over here, this did take a little bit to actually crack on. These are dialogue triggers, by the way, so as your boat's coming down, it'll play dialogue. But here's the boat with all your troops on it. Well, your comrade, should I say. So there's Captain James. He's the guy you follow everywhere. Bandage head and cigar, because that works. He's not holding a gun, but that's on purpose. So your character will spawn here. They'll all be there. A lot of people online say if you jump onto a moving platform in Unreal, the velocity will be added to yours and you'll travel with it. Which is fine, except, and this is probably something I've done, but no, it doesn't. It does not at all. Your character goes flying, and so does everybody else. So, I definitely think it's something I've done, but the reason they haven't got guns is they are completely bare bones, stripped down characters. They are just a skeletal mesh with barely anything on it. That's it. Because I'm using the advanced locomotion system for the movement, for the ALS and everything. It worked really, really well to add the immersion to it, and all the actual characters that move around in the game have ALS. But these guys couldn't have it, because in this boat, they just would not sit still at all. They just kept flying off the boat, sinking, all sorts like that. So what I've done is I've created a basic mesh of them, but I've also created advanced versions of them. So you can see BPMPC is all down, but I've created ALS-based ones as well. So what I do is when this boat first starts, I link the actors to it. So I've linked all those NPCs. And then I loop over them, and I attach them directly to the boat. And that's how I managed to get around the physics of it throwing them everywhere. So I set the movement mode to none, so they, in theory, can't move anywhere if they need to. And then I attach them directly to it, and that fixes them in play. The player has some fun, but you can, for the most part, stay on the boat, so that's fine. Then I disable the ticking on the boat, so it just stays static and doesn't do anything, and I start some dialogue. This dialogue is the part where the captain basically says, go, 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 kind of thing. And the clever part with what I do is I do the old magic trick where I replace all the actors with their counterparts. So as soon as the boat lands and the dialogue starts where he says go, 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 every single one of these is replaced immediately with the ALS versions, with the guns, and they run out. And they've been set in the dialogue to run to specific points outside the boat down here. The Nazis have been set on the same dialogue to run out and ambush us, and they start shooting each other, and you start shooting them as well. Because the AI took a while to create, as AI does, it wasn't as cinematic as I wanted, but it's still pretty cool. So you can see here it says go, go, go. I replace all the actors. I then give the player the ability of the HUD, because my HUD is an ability as well, and all it does is create the HUD, really. And then I begin the quest of Built to Scale, which is the name of the game jam, which was pretty cool. Then I set everybody's positions and all the stuff like that. So let's actually have a look at the game, and we'll develop a commentary as we go over it. You know, there used to be this saying on a game I used to play, war never changes. It bloody does if the Nazis kidnap an alien. So that bit there is just a sequence that I start at the very beginning of the game. And the camera you're about to see fade in is just a camera changing positions. But you heard the lines. This is another one of those bugs that is like, it shouldn't be a thing, but it is, and it took time to fix. But you heard it say, you know, I used to play a game, War Never Changes, which was an epic line I came up with, by the way, if I do say so myself. And then it says, it bloody does if the Nazis kidnap an alien, right? That's the line. That's fine. I'm happy with that line. If I come to the built version of the game and run it, listen to what happens now. And bearing in mind, it's the same game. I've not changed it. So the game will run and it'll show my intro, which I love the intro. Dead awesome intro. Happy with that. Listen to the line now.
You know, there used to be this saying on a game I used to play.
All good so far?
War never changes.
Now listen to it.
It bloody does if the Nazis kidnap an A.
If the Nazis kidnap an A, what's an A? And this is the type of weird bugs I've been having. And from what I've seen online, it very well could be 5.4 is one of the dodgiest releases. Because there's so many people complaining about bugs and saying they wish they never upgraded to 5.4. And I'm kind of in the same boat because some of these bugs are just weird. But yeah, so I've still not managed to solve that one, that it cuts off the audio, so I've just had to live with it. I don't know what it is. There's this weird thing that pops up in your sequencer asking if you want to use a clock or something like that to drive your audio, and it's meant to better align your audio and your animations. I don't know how or why, but it does. I've tried it with and without that, it cuts off every time. No other audio in the game cuts off, just this sequencer. So I've got no idea. But yeah, so if we carry on playing, the camera's going to fade on down. So you can see, we can see the boat. Everything's popping in, but that's because it's rendered so far away. But I'm not bothered about that one. You can see we'll land in, and the guard, captain, will instantly begin talking. We've got free roam, but you can see the glitchiness of the player. That is, it's either ALS or Unreal, and everybody online says if your character's on a moving platform, your character should move with the platform with the velocity. Unless I've done it wrongly, I don't know. This was a little Easter egg I put into it. I named the 4 biggest games, shooting games, as part of the dialogue and made it match up. I love that aspect. I just thought it was so nerdy. But yes, you can see we can look around and that's fine. And all these guys don't have guns. But as soon as he says go, 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 watch for the guns. Boom.
Go, go, go.
You didn't even notice it because the glitch, but it's there, look, and everybody runs out. So you can see the barrel, I will shoot the barrel, explosions up in the air. No idea why. I cannot figure it out. But you can see I've also got a HUD now, and these, of course, not going to shoot me. Another one of those annoying weird bugs I had, but the game is here. We can shoot the guys. Arthur, Harold, Henry, secure the area. Richard, Robert, secure the route. Looks like you've got hit. Have a look around and see if you can find a medkit. Yes, so that's it. So everybody's got their orders and they're all running away. And now it's told me to go and find a medkit. So the point is the player looks around, you can see planes and you can hear them flying over you as well. Which is one of the first effects I did actually. I wanted it to sound like you were actually in a battlefield, but I guess a lighter battlefield is the way to call it. So you can hear the planes going backwards and forwards all the time. When you're next to the sea, you can hear the sea, and as you get up there, you'll start hearing gunshots and explosions and stuff. But yeah, so you'll look around, and in theory, you're not supposed to be able to go this way, but you can. Oh, no, there you go. The blocking volume has moved down, look, so all good. You can become, Jesus for a little bit. But then we come down, we collect the med pack, and the quest continues. So he says, go back to Captain James. So we'll run down here, and the guards are all stood around. You'll notice that a few of our guards have actually disappeared now. There's 2 over there, 1 there, and 1 there, and there's 1 there. I think that might be it. We had a weird issue on building where the guards would just fall through the floor. I think it was to do with the NPC optimizer plugin I was using. I don't think it likes ALS at all, because I was getting nothing but glitches. Ended up just removing it and going, you know what, I'll take the frame rate hit, that's it. But I'm running at a smooth 30 FPS 45 in engine as well, so if you're on a built game, it'll run a lot better than that. So you can see we'll run up to Captain James and he'll basically move on along and we can follow him. So he'll run up here and start telling you about the truck. So he'll stop there and he'll say, hold on, there's a truck coming. So in the end, you were meant to fail your quest if you got here, but you can see the truck comes back, you can hear it, planes flying over, and now it'll say we can carry it. So you can see I'm pressing the C key to crouch, but it's doing nothing at the moment because I've modified it so you can't. And then you hit here, you've now unlocked the ability to crouch, so I can crouch. How cool is that? I had that idea months ago that I wanted a war game that specifically gave you the abilities as and when you needed them to teach you how to play the game. I think it's the Nintendo way of playing it. It tells you what you need as and when you need it. That's a glitch I forget about every single time. But yeah, so you can see the enemies are moving, look. Build the game, they don't move. Don't know why. It's so annoying. But yes, We can move on down here, and you can see he's basically saying you've got an allied bunker. You can hear the explosions and the gun sounds going off in the background. There's the gun sound, there's the explosion sound. And I was meant to put some SFX around and some effects and let you see it. You can see he stood up and ran off in now, and he's there. The other guys are meant to be following you, but I didn't code that. So you can see we can now talk to General Churchbone. So we'll skip his dialogue because play the game if you want to see it or watch the thing. And it was meant to be the part I said earlier where you see the tank blow something up, go round, blah, 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 but the 12 hours took it all up. I was confident I could get it in, but it just ruined all my time, unfortunately. So yeah, so this is this bit here. I thought this was going to take the longest to do, but it really didn't. It was so easy. The hardest part was kit bashing this together. So, like, how do you get from this floor up there when it looks like this? How do you do it? So I started thinking, okay, well, it's an industrial thing. They've just gathered alien technology. They're going to have the ability for big, heavy drills, support structures, stuff they've taken apart from the aliens, right? So I started just kit bashing it together. And if you don't know that term, it basically means just getting things that don't match, putting it together and making it look right. So like this here, I don't even know what this is. It's a bridge. That's meant to be on top of a bridge as a rail. I used it as an upside down thing to make it look like a holder. It works really well. These are some floors, fences, look, and yes, there's your first platform. So you climb up these ladders here, and then you get to here, you can take him out, climb up some more ladders, and more rails and stuff. Crates, shoot them all. Obviously, the Nazis wouldn't build the crates in this format. Nobody would if you were a master villain. And if you are a villain and you build your crates like this, you've got a problem. But, so you come round, and there's the spinning health pack look. So you take all these out, you get up here, and yeah, it was actually just, I spent hours kit bashing this and making it work. But it was worth it in the end. So you can see, we'll climb up. So you climb up, ALS climbing, and we've got the ladders. So you can hear him climb up, and I'm getting shot at, so we'll just climb out. There we go. So I couldn't have the time to make him actually properly climb up the ladders. So if I'm going to make him climb the ladders, I'm going to do it properly. Each hand, each foot, hitting the correct step, climbing up and down as you press the up and down key. Did not have the time to go into doing that. So I used the old fade to black sound teleport. You can see the guard's there. He's kind of noticing me. I'll come out. Unfortunately, they only look at me from their bodies, so they don't actually see me half the time. They'll just take some pot shots at them. The AI is not fantastic, not as good as I wanted it to be, but 96 hours, what are you going to do? I am a massive fan of the compass. So there's my shot, so you can see bloodshot as well. They shoot each other, which is hilarious. When they stand in a line and they're just shooting each other, it's so fun. But you can see, more guys are shooting me. Let me set these out and I'll pick a health pack up. So I'll pick this health pack up, and you can see it played the Medal of Honor. I can reload as well, and my ammo goes down. If you run out of ammo, you are a bit screwed. I've got an ammo crate in the game, but I just didn't have time to put it in, unfortunately. Not to match the story as well, because I didn't just want to randomly put it in. I am a massive fan of the compass. It didn't take long to add in. The longest part was the Photoshop of the compass face. So I got a royalty-free compass face of northeast southwest. I got some royalty-free crack effects and photoshopped that on. And then I took a picture of an in-game person and put it on. And it's like your lady back home, as the war people used to say. And then the health bar going around is copied from Medal of Honor, because if you didn't know, the game is inspired heavily by Medal of Honor 1, 2 Underground style game. You come up and, yeah, you come here, you can activate the door. So the door long opens, you'll hear a little bit of walking and you'll appear. There we go. And then you can look out, you can see everything. There's the hatch again, so you can get back down. But you come on up to these stairs and hit plant the dynamite. So I used a motion capture from the tent burning video I did not long ago. And you can see he'll get down, look around, plant something down. There'll be a clunk. There it is. So he's placed it on, and now you'll hear the tss, and then the timer's ticking down, and you can hear it. I wanted to make it speed up the closer it gets to it, but I ran out of time. I was like, I really need to get on with it. So then we'll take our time. For 60 seconds is enough if you're shooting people, not enough if you are just running. You know, if you're speed running trying to get over here, you'll do it in like 20 seconds, because you can properly just get around everywhere so quick with jumping and climbing. And this bit down here is crazy how fast you can get down here. So if I run down here and just jump at the right spot, I'm right at the front look. Half the time I was falling over. But yeah, so you can come down. And have I fixed this bug yet? Yeah, I fixed this bug. You used to just drop off. Come back and get both ladders. And I think I've set it to you've got to be 5,000 units away from that. So it's a good distance away. If you don't make it at the moment, you just die. But now I've made it so you can see the tank exploded. That was the thing. It was going to be an instant replacement like I did with the military men, that you have the tank, it just grabs every single actor from it and replaces it. I needed to find a better way of doing it because there was a lot of actors. As you can imagine, every rail, every crate, everything, it was all in here. There's 180 actors, so it doesn't sound that bad, but that's just for this one sequence. But yeah, so I wanted to bulk replace all this with that explosive tank and just make it go boom kind of thing, which I think could have worked if I'd have wrapped it in a cutscene, you know. But yeah, so that's it. What else can I show? This ticking thing here, so it's just a blueprint called Dynamite, and I tried to make everything generic because the plan originally was to have mechs the size of this as well, you know, like Warhammer Titans. So I think I grabbed this skeletal mesh down here, at least on the devlog, and I basically set it to, it wasn't even that, it was like that or something ridiculous, and I was saying like I'll get some of those Sinti mechs and have it just there. And then the same thing as the tank, you'll kit bash your way through it. So you'll climb up to the foot, you'll shoot some bad guys, you'll climb some ladders up here till you get to the hips, you'll walk on round the hips, well, I'm at his knees, that's how big it is, round his hips, shoot some more, climb up some more, maybe you're at one hand, I don't know, you shoot round, come up here, plant a bomb up here or something, get off, parachute, whatever, it goes kaboom kind of thing. That was the plan. But yeah, I did underestimate how long it'd take to kit bash this tank. It doesn't even look a lot, does it? That's the worst part. But it took a while to figure out what to do. So like this here, with this bridge and the rails and stuff, that's what it looks like. It's a massive gap. And none of this has got collision on it, so you had to block it all off as well. But in the end, it turned out really nice and I liked it. These ladder effects, them ladders are just static. This is the effect here. It's just a clever little thing I did where you have a trigger here and it's the length of the ladder, or so at least you can jump up if you want. There's a skeletal mesh which is only rendered in engine to show you where your player would teleport to. Because I figured instead of using a blueprint or a little white and black node on the floor, skeletal mesh, it only exists in the editor and it shows you exactly where it needs to go. It makes so much sense and it works so well. But yes, then you come and interact with it and then it just plays the sounds there when I tell it to, but the core of the functionality is in this interactable teleport, I've called it, because for this bit over here, this isn't a ladder, this is a teleporter, and for that bit down there as well. So I called it teleport and I made it generic. So it comes in and disables the player so you can't move around. It then starts to camera fade, and when it's finished, because annoyingly, when you start a camera fade, you haven't got any events to say when the camera fade done. You just have to figure it out, really, which is annoying. Just a little node here, like on finished or by assigned to on camera fade finished would be nice. But yeah, so I set an event for the same time. When it's done, I play the sound, which is generic, which in the ladder's case is the dink, 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 climbing up it, and then the other one is the door sound. Set a timer for when that finishes, because that's how long it takes to teleport up. The sound will basically loop. So the ladder dink is just dink, dink, that's it. But I loop it so it goes ding, 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 ding. And then at any moment it cuts it off because you've teleported. Same with the door. If I left the door long enough, it would just keep playing over and over again. But it's little techniques like this that you do to save time and you don't really need to worry about it. Then I set the player's position and then I stop the sound and then start the camera fading back out, wait the time, and then give the player the input back. There is a small glitch that as soon as you teleport the player up, even before the teleporting time's finished, the AI will see you and start shooting you. I was meant to add a gameplay tag to the player to basically say you're busy and then tell the AI to ignore anybody who's busy because they're busy, you don't touch them. So if you set the teleporting time to 15 seconds, you'll literally be stood there getting shot at for 15 seconds. And I didn't want to do it down here because then during the fade, you'll see it teleport. I don't want that. I want it to teleport, load everything around it, and then be done with it. But yes, that's how that bit works. It's one of them things that when I thought about doing this and I'm going, this is like what Uncharted does for a business. Kind of thing. I'm not going to be able to do that for a jam, surely. And the more I thought about it, I was like, but all you're doing is teleporting to set spaces and climbing up it. It can't be that hard. And that's not putting down Uncharted. They have a lot more detail in it. You'll climb up holding the rope. You'll actually see him go up the ladders. Animations everywhere, glitches, non-existent kind of thing. But for a basic implementation, it was actually really easy to do. The hardest part, like I say, was planning the route. If you had a dedicated artist, they'd crack this out. But yeah, one other thing I did find troublesome with this is the curvature of the tank. Half the time, the tank, as you can see, it curves up and it doesn't work fantastically for collisions and stuff, because I didn't want this entire tank to have heavy collisions in that other world. It'd be horrible. So what I did was I broke it down with one of my favourite materials that I'm really enjoying using at the moment, called Invisible. All it is a material that makes something completely opaque, so you can't see it at all. That's it. But it retains all its collisions, retains its rendering, and I stuck planes like this everywhere. So if I come enable this plane and say prototype grid, you can see there's just a massive plane here, and the characters will just use the nav mesh on the plane and they'll just walk up and down it, and it works really, really well. And I just made it invisible. This one has got its own collision because it's one piece, so that's fine. Same with the stairs. The stairs are semi-custom, so they are just a short amount of stairs, but the collision I've placed on it, where can I show you the collision? There. I've just put a box on a tilt wall, and then you just walk up it like a plane, that's it. You might be thinking, why didn't I just put a plane up here and make it better? And you are right, I should have done that. But I planned these stairs out, and I built the collisions before I planned where they were actually going. I just knew when you got down here, there wasn't enough room for you to have a platform going up, and having this tilted up like that just looked really, really weird. It didn't match the curvature of the tank. I didn't like it, so I built it across. I was like, we'll put some stairs in, and then I thought one step would be enough, and then it wasn't, so I tried two, and well, it wasn't, and then I got to three, and I was like, well, it's nice, but it's very barren, so I had to double the amount. So that's why they've broken like that. But if I had more time, I would have just put a plain invisible down and you walk up. These boxes here, just covering mistakes. See? I don't even know what this is. What is it? I don't know. Something's just sticking. Oh no, I put the floors here. That's what it is. Like that. That's what it's meant to look like. So these boxes are just there to cover up some mistakes, so you don't really notice it. These railings, I didn't manually place every single railing. I'm using one of my favourite plugins, the BP Spline Mesh tool. It literally just lets you place meshes on a spline. That's it. It's so simple. It should be part of the engine. That's how confident I am that I like that tool. It just needs to be part of the engine. But yeah, so I've sent all the railings via that, and it handles the curvature and everything, handles corners, as you can see, really nicely. So I placed all the boxes down, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's really it. I just placed the boxes, placed the enemies, let them come for you. There's the teleporter. So this one is for that hatch there, and that one is for the door down there. And that is the exact same thing again. Teleport device. It's got an interactable teleport on it with all the bits that you need. That's it. And it teleports you up. Nice and simple. Dynamite. I think I showed you the dynamite. Ah, no, I didn't show you the dynamite. I was meant to show you the dynamite. But yes, so there's an interactable on it that you call finish machine. And then when you interact with it, it disables the player's input and calls start finish, which is this bit here. So it comes back to it. Because the plan was with all the different tanks and mechs to have different ways. So one of them was going to have like a mini nuclear reactor in it. So you go up, bing some settings on the machine, alarms go off and stuff, and you get out of there, so they're different. But this one sets the player's position so they can blend in. So because the animation was cutting through the floor, it was snapping, or if you press it too close, then they'd walk through the barrels to play the animation. So what I've really done is created this, and it smoothed them into position. So it starts playing the animation of them placing the bomb, which is this one here. I'm actually lighting a torch, to be honest. Where it comes down, plays the sounds via here, and then it backs away. So then it comes up here, plays a timeline where it moves me into the final position that I need to be, which is hard-coded in there as well, so I can reuse it. Now, before anybody comes and says, why didn't you use motion matching or motion smoothing, motion merging, whatever it's bloody called, you can't. Not with standard animations, which I didn't know. From the videos I saw, your animation has to be sorted as root motion. And at the moment, my animations aren't root motion based, so I couldn't use it, which was quite a shock to me because I thought it was just a way of merging between two animations, but apparently not. You have to have root motion, so that's why I've not been able to use it yet. So I had to basically create it myself. It doesn't look as good. It basically shifts the character over a slow time, so you notice it, but it's not as noticeable. Then, yeah, so I've got some notifiers. Then I set the dynamite hidden, and then I set the dynamite to be visible. I enable the player's input, and then I wait for the timer to start ticking off. Then I start the timer ticking, which is on the player's HUD. It probably wasn't the best place to place it, but at this point I was getting really desperate for a game. So we've got a dynamite timer over here, and you can see I've got my start timer here. I basically set the text and start it ticking down, and then I start a timer every second, so beep, beep, beep kind of thing. And then on the update timer, I reduce it. I play the sound, which is the beeping. I wanted an actual beep, beep, beep. Like you see, I don't know what shows do it. There's some shows where they have clocks and something's really urgent and desperate. But I couldn't find that sound for free, so I just settled with a standard clock, and it does work. Then I reduce the time, clear the timer when we get to the end, and then I call timer finish. And all that is a event dispatcher on here that I bind to somewhere. I can't remember where I bind to it. Here we go. I bind to it on the dynamite. And then I check the player's distance. If they're more than 8,000 away, open the explosion tank level. If they're not, so they're close enough, then I just had to kill the player. I didn't have time to do both. And that's pretty much the game, really. I know I've complained a lot about the weird bugs, and there are some cracking weird bugs that I've had. But I still swear by this as single-handedly the biggest game, the biggest learning curve that I've ever done. The amount of new stuff that I've learned by working on this game and pushing myself is insane. Creating a tank to crawl up it this high, kit bashing it together. Never had any idea how to do that. But it's just, I wanted it, I went for it, and it worked. The ladders, again, I've never done ladders before, but a simple teleportation trick worked perfect. The chaos destruction, even though I know I'm not greatly happy with it, I don't know why it's so bad. Maybe it's the pure size of it. Maybe I need to add more fractures, not sure. But that works. I've even cached it, so I can basically replicate it as many times as I want. So if I go you to you to you, they'll all explode the exact same way, so it's really optimized. See? Every single one explodes the exact same way. So really, really nice optimization there for chaos caching. That's brand new. But the biggest thing I've taken away from it that I'm absolutely going to be doing in future is the gameplay ability system. That is one of the best things I've used in a long time. It took a while to get into it, don't get me wrong. And I'll give 100% of the credit to Code Like Me, I can't remember his name on YouTube. I was basically just watching his videos in the background a few weeks ago, learning about the gameplay ability system, and he basically did like first 6 parts of the system without touching C++, and I'm like, hold on, can you actually use this without touching C++? No, you have to use C++. But you can create a lot more than I thought in pure blueprints. So if we come and have a look at the abilities, you can see I've got all these other stuff down here. So if you don't know what the gameplay ability system is, it's basically a series of abilities or ability files and effect files. There are other stuff around it, but they're the core concepts of it. An ability is like a blueprint. It gives you the option to do something. So in my case, crouch. Gameplay ability crouch. If I activate the ability, I call crouch, then I end the ability. That's it. Super, super simple. HUD. When I get the gameplay ability of HUD and I activate it, I simply make my HUD visible and I end the ability. That's it. So there's a difference between giving an ability and activating an ability. Giving an ability gives you the option to activate it. Activating the ability is using it. It's like having a gun. Giving the ability is giving you a gun. Activating it is choosing to shoot it. It's that kind of deal. So you give the ability, then you activate it. Jumping, same thing. I get my actor, I call jump. But the coolest thing about the gameplay ability system is it's not just for players. You can use it on other characters. So gameplay ability crouch here, when I tell the guy to crouch at the beginning here, or when I tell him to crouch, uncrouch here, I basically use the gameplay ability I've given him. I tell him to activate the ability of crouch. I don't think I've got an ability to uncrouch, so I just tell it to uncrouch, which is Unreal's built-in thing. But yeah, it's built in, which is really, really nice. Quest Journal, which I never actually ended up using, I literally just open the menu in the gameplay ability. So the benefit of this is if you want a sequence at the beginning of the game where the player can't activate or do anything, gameplay ability. I think I've got one for the inventory. No, I didn't end up having inventory, but I've got one for the weapon. So for firing and reloading for the same thing, at the beginning of the game, you've got the weapon, but you can't do any of this because you've not been given the ability. Then as soon as you arrive here and the dialogue plays, you are given these abilities. So you can now do it. And the fire is super simple. You come in, I get my current actor, and I make sure they've got ammo. Yep, because remember, this is for NPCs and players, and all of the Nazis have this M1 rifle ability. They don't have reload, they just keep shooting over and over again, but maybe they do, I can't remember. If they don't have ammo, then I end the ability. Otherwise, I get the weapon, I get the stats of it, which is something I set up. So you've got all the different weapon details, because I planned to put extra weapons in if I had the time, but I ran out of time, but that's completely fine because I planned it in anyway. So here we've got a data asset one for an M1 rifle. So you can see I've got the fire sound, reload, fire shoot time, so often allowed to fire, how long reload takes, the fire and reload abilities, the gameplay tags that you use, which we'll cover in a minute, the ALS weapon style. So since I'm using ALS, it comes with loads of pre-done animations. So rifle, perfect. I was going to use pistol one-handed as well. Another option that I could have done in the game is you got kidnapped and you have to walk away injured or hands tied. Loads of stuff you can do. Ammos per mag, muzzle flashes, damage effects, which we'll cover effects in a moment, and then the distance you can fire. And then, yeah, get the stats, do everything I need, play some camera shakes, spawn the muzzle flash, update my ammo, set a timer so I can actually reload again or fire again next time. Then I line trace to see if I damage any actor, and that's pretty much it. The rest of it is just ammo control and refreshing the timers, really. But yeah, so then the gameplay effects are how you actually deal things to them. Like, you could do it without using gameplay effects, but you'd be using half the system kind of thing. So if you want to deal damage or modify something, then you use the effects, you apply an effect to it. The most common example is you activate the ability of healing, and that gives you the effect of being healed. That's pretty much it. Or in my case, you fire a gun, it gives you the effect of being shot. But it applies the damage. So you can see I've got bully's damage effect here, and all it is just a data thing, really. So you can see I come down and I add a modifier, where I'm modifying the attribute of my health, and I'm adding -10. So I take -10 off you every time you shot. The Nazis all have health of 10. This is just easy. And then you come down, and what I also do is I apply a gameplay cue, or a gameplay tag, of damage. So they know when they're damaged. And I can't remember why I did that. There was a reason that I needed to apply it. But you can see up here, the duration policy is instant. So as soon as this gameplay effect happens, boom, it applies it, it disappears. That's it. But it works really well for adding gameplay tags, dealing damage and stuff. The health potion pickup, when you do that one, so if I do medpack, same thing, you heal, but you aren't allowed to do it if you're dead. So if you're dead and somebody gives you a medical pack, you can't handle it. So you can see, must not have tag. And then I heal you 75. That's it. And anybody can pick a med pack up. The AI isn't coded to do it, they'll just ignore it basically. But they can pick it up, which is the really cool part of it. And at first it was very tedious setting up, going, well, I need to add a gameplay tag of dead, I need to make sure that you get hit. When you get hit, you have the gameplay tag of dead. I need to add the gameplay tag of heal, and I need to make sure it attaches. But then towards the end, I've got a really nice framework. So I think explosion damage was one of the last ones I had to do. And I basically came in and I was like, well, I need to apply damage. Well, I've already got my health. Yeah, I'll apply 50 damage, perfect. And then I didn't add a Q to this one. But there was just little bits like that where it's like, well, I need to do such and such. Well, I've already got it because something else needed it. And it just ended up working really, really well. But yes, that's the gameplay ability system. You've got your abilities, you've got your effect. There are other little bits like the Qs, which is ways where you do custom things. So on Q here, for the health increase, when you get a med pack, I play, but when you get the health pack, I basically play the health sound. And that's all it does, just that super basic thing. I could have done it when you pick up a med pack, but I don't think picking up a med pack was actually an ability. No, it's not. The med pack itself works differently because it's not an ability. You just get it and you need an effect applied to you. So all it does is apply a gameplay effect to you, which is the gameplay effect med pack, which activates the game. That's why I needed the gameplay cue. I remember now. So gameplay cues, you don't weirdly assign the cue to it. You assign a tag to yourself, and then the gameplay cue picks up on that tag and activates itself. That seems to be a big thing in the gameplay ability system, that things trigger when you have a tag, which is a big, big thing. So like if I come and look at the abilities, let's do crouch and go to class defaults, you can see here, all of these are different ways of activating the ability or doing things with the ability, and every single one's a gameplay tag. Which, don't get me wrong, I love gameplay tags, they're so good, but it's heavily built on tags. So you can see down here, activation blocked. If the player's busy, then you can't activate the ability of crouching. Really, I should also add character dead, and it'll say this ability is blocked if any of these actors are matched. So if your character's dead, you can't crouch, and then that'll block it just by adding that tag just like that. It's so nice. You've got loads of stuff I've not even used, like gameplay cooldowns. I could have used that for the gameplay firing, but I wanted to just get on with it because I was running, I'm on a deadline, aren't I? So on here, where I set this timer before you can shoot again, I didn't need to do that. I could have just used the cooldown effect class, but then I'd have to figure out how to set it up, how to make it cool down, time, etc. But yeah, that's the gameplay ability system, really. Very, very basically, of course. The final aspect of it is the attributes, which is basically what you set up. So your gameplay ability effects can't modify random variables. You have to give it set variables it can edit. And unfortunately, you have to do that in C++. But it's dead simple to do, and we'll have a quick look at it in a minute. But yeah, so I'm saying here, health and max health is 100 for my player. On the enemies, their health is 10. That's it. You may be wondering, why have I got one called health with a base value, a min value, and a max value, and a max health? Why can't I just use the max? I kid you not, this is the silliest thing I've seen in a long time, but you can't actually get the min and max values at all, even in C++. They are there and completely useless. I don't know why. I saw several posts online of people asking why. Several people were telling you how to modify the engine to make it usable. I don't know why. I set them just because I did, but you have to have a separate attribute and you have to write in the checks yourself. I don't know why. It's weird, but maybe it'll be fixed. But yeah, that's pretty much the game, really. So you get on the boat, you travel down here. I think I've covered most of it off. The enemies are all built on state trees, because you know I do love me some state trees. Single state tree for everybody. It's called German because that's where it originally was, but then everybody uses the same one. It's a bit more in-depth than my other one at the moment, but you find the closest enemy. If you don't, you just go to waiting. So the key thing for state trees is it's on an event tick, so it'll run over and over and over and over again. So if this fails because you haven't found an enemy, it'll just check again and again and again and again. It'll just smash your computer, basically. So what I've made it do is say, find an enemy, otherwise wait for a few seconds, then try and find an enemy again. It does mean if you're quick enough, you can get right up close to his face before they start attacking you, but you've got 2 seconds to do so, really. So it's not too bad. There are other ways you can do it. You could easily build this into the vision-based system and go from there. So as soon as they see you, they react or change state trees or whatever. But yeah, then basic shooting, I think I did the same for the King's one, the King's Summoner, where you move towards the enemy, you rotate, you aim at them, you rotate again to make sure you're definitely facing them. There's a slight delay for your aiming, you attack, and you move to a random spot, then attack again. Pretty much. 5.4, another one of the weird bugs I've got. These delay nodes are broken beyond belief. I don't know why, but these delays here, because you'll notice the enemies didn't shoot at me. Where's the delay? I think I've removed all the delays. Yeah, so I've replaced it with a new delay because it was the only way I could get it to semi-work. Like, this delay task here works fine, but this one doesn't. And they do the exact same thing. That's the weird type of bugs I was having. I don't know why. But I ended up creating my own delay task that does the same code. It even got so much that I started looking in the C++ of the gameplay ability system from Epic to try and figure out why it weren't working. I don't know. I'm also supposed to have a debugger of some kind in here. I ain't got one. I've looked online and everybody says it should just be in here. So your debugger's meant to show you what it's doing, but I haven't got it and I don't know why yet. But yeah, so that's it really. That's the game. It took a while. I think most nights I got 5-6 hours sleep by choice. I wanted to do that. I don't recommend it unless you really, really want to do it, but I really like my game jams. I really like the games I make. I've always put maximum effort into it as best I can. So yeah, this is Ironfront Alien Reich, the game about Nazis discovering aliens. Technically, in the lore, the way this works is the alien that crashed at Roswell didn't land there. They actually landed in Nazi Germany in World War II, and that's where the aliens got the technology from for big tanks like that. So yeah, there's all this city scene over here that I never managed to build into it either, but it was there. I've not modified any of it. That's all Synty static. The bits I've heavily modified is all stuff like this. These are the battleships that the big tank was meant to explode, and I was going to have these turn and just shoot, but I ran out of time. But yeah, let's take a quick look at the C++ then. And I know some people don't like C++, they don't get the coding, but I just want to show you how easy it really is. Because that's the bit that confused me the most, with just how easy it was. And same with the ALS system. Like, there was a lot of stuff on the ALS ability that I needed to have removed, because the ALS system just says you can do everything. From the beginning of the game, you can crouch, you can jump, you can move. I needed to have that removed, basically. So I needed to activate it myself. So that's what I did. So I started modifying the ALS system, C++, and adding my own gameplay ability system into it. And it worked really, really well. I'm really happy with how well it worked out. So this is the C++ side, and I'm going to basically go over some very basic stuff, not in depth or anything. So for ALS, you have this ALS-based character. Every character inherits from this: player, NPC, everyone. And this is basically just full of code functions, basically, like you have in Blueprints, to make him do stuff. So like, let's find an easy one. So like this one here, camera up action, is literally how your camera moves up when you move the mouse or the joystick upwards. That's it. It adds controller pitch input, which is the exact same blueprint code you'd use, and tells you what to do. That's it. And there's loads more bits in here, like jump action here. This is how you jump. So when you press jump, if it's true, as in you've pressed jump, it runs down here, and then it calls stop jumping. Sprinting, same thing. It tells it to start sprinting, kind of thing. Aiming tells you to aim. There's loads of them in here. So this isn't how you press keys, though, because your NPCs aren't going to press keys. They'll just activate these generically. So that's where we go to the player controller, where we know all the keys come from in ALS. And you can see here, camera up action, camera down right action. It just calls the character's function in there. However, this is where I started modifying it. So you can see here, jump, it gets the ability system and activates the ability to jump, like so. This jump ability is a variable I created on the header file, which is where you put your variables and your stuff like that. So you can see down here is all my stuff here. Jump ability, a soft class, because we've done soft classes plenty of times. Gameplay ability, jump. I've set it to a null pointer, which basically means null, it's empty, it's got nothing on it. Same with the crouch ability. Right there, look. I could have done way more, aiming, all stuff like that, but I didn't need to. This was fine for me. And that's pretty much the player controller side of it. And that's how I modified ALS to basically work with the ability system. You could go way more in depth with it. Everything could be an ability kind of thing, but I didn't need it that far. So the next thing I modified was back to the base character. So for the NPCs and the player, is I started adding the ability system. So I've got the interface here for the ability system component to get it. Then I've got the actual ability system and my attribute set. And I've got a couple more stuff like my update health functions, my default abilities, all basic stuff. I've even put is dead in here because it made sense to have it in there. Current enemy is one that I don't even use in C++ at all, but I've stored it here because both player and NPC need access to it. I could have done it in Blueprints, but at this point I figured, hold up, I'm making so many modifications to this and it's working so nice. I'll just add it into the C++ as well. And now both player and enemy have access to it, which is nice. And that's pretty much it. The only other things I needed to do was add the attributes here. So all this is boilerplate code, you copy and paste. So I've added a variable here of health. That's it. It's read only in Blueprints because you modify it via the gameplay effects, which is how you do it. Max health, that's that here. This attribute accesses is basically a thing called a macro, and it's basically when it's compiling the C++, it uses this macro up here and does a bunch of copying and pasting. So for each of these variables, it will add you a getter, which is get me this value. It will get you another type of getter, I don't know why. It'll let you set it and it'll let you initialize it. And it's just basically how the C++ works. I copied and pasted 99% of this just by watching a basic video. That's it. Follow the video, paste it in the right place, and you're good. And then in the C++, how I said earlier, you don't have access to the min and max things. I had to do this myself. So I say pre-attribute based change. So when I change an attribute like my health, I decrease it, I increase it. I come in here, I run its parent. So you know when you right click on a node and you add call to parent, that's that bit. Then I come in and I say, is the attribute that I'm changing my health? If I am, come in here. If I'm not, ignore it. So an if statement is just a branch. That's it. Come into here. I set the new value to a clamp, which is the, what do we call it in Blueprint? I can't remember what we call it in Blueprint. So basically you're saying, here's the value. This is the minimum. This is the maximum. And I get the health. And then it'll reduce it. So if the new health is 100, 100 is bang on the max health. It'll keep it at 100. If I set to 250, that's more than the max health of 100, it will reduce it. If I've got minus 10, it'll set it to 0. I think it is called clamping Blueprints. But that's really it. I didn't make a lot of changes. There are some system-wide changes you need to do, of course, as per normal. Like in this build.cs file, I needed to add these bits to the end, but that's it. It's copy and paste stuff. If I do this one, maybe two more times, I'm probably going to be able to remember this and do it all off top of my head, really. There is one more thing we needed to do. On your event begin play here, so event begin play, which is the same node in Blueprints, I've done some bits here where I've set my attribute set, so I actually apply it to the player. And then here is a delegate, which is an event dispatcher. Just in C++, it's called delegate. In most programming, it's called delegates. and then I say when I change my attribute, call the health changed function, which is down here, my function here. That's it. It's super simple. I didn't write all this, by the way. All this was built into ALS already. The only other thing I do is grant the player abilities. That's it. So that's for any default abilities. So like the Nazis have the M4 weapons, fire and reload. The player has the ability to, well, would have the ability to move around. But on the climbing one, where you climb up the tank, he's already got the ability of fire, reload, and climbing. He hasn't got crouch. I should have given him crouch, but yeah. So as you can see, super simple. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? That is my game. I've done so much new things this time. It's unreal how crazy how much I've done, and that's not even a pun, but we can have it as a pun. So thanks for watching. As according to the recording, I've been talking for an hour and 16 minutes solid, so I'm going to end it here. If there's anything else in the game you would like me to focus more on, make a dedicated tutorial, please let me know in the description below. I'm getting to the point where I can probably start doing gas tutorials in the YouTube video, because then we can start adding weapons and stuff, because I've been putting that off on purpose for the gas. But the problem is I'm not a pro yet. So I'm a bit torn what to do. I don't know whether to leave it for longer until I get better at it, or do it, and when the questions come in, I can learn from the questions and improve it. I don't know. I don't like putting videos out that are just factually incorrect, but equally it's a great way to learn, because, you know, you always get the one person who doesn't like how you said it, so they tell you the way to fix it. But yeah, so I don't know. We can see. But thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If there's anything you'd like to see, please let me know in the comments. My name is Decryption, and I will see you next time.